Carpet Suite tonight on ABC.
Moonee Valley, venue for the 51st Interdominion Championship for Pacers, and tonight the culmination of a marvellous fortnight's racing. Around 25,000 people are here for Melbourne's 6th Interdominion final. It was here at Moonee Valley nearly 100 years ago that the seeds for this, the greatest harness race in the Southern Hemisphere, were sown. Hello and welcome on a beautiful night in Melbourne. Yes, March the 4th, 1896, when pacers from both sides of the Tasman, standardbreds, met for the first time here at Moonee Valley in what was called the Intercolonial Free-for-All harness racing, and the Valley have come a long way since then. A special hello to our friends in New Zealand, who I'm sure are looking for a repeat of Melbourne's first Interdominion final in 1950, when Captain Sandy led home a New Zealand trifecta. That's certainly a possibility tonight. There are 5 New Zealanders in the grand final, 4 Victorian horses, 2 from New South Wales. Let's take a look at the full field of 11, remembering it's 2 line of horses behind the mobile barrier, a distance to travel of 2,840 metres. In barrier position 1, Mark Hanover from New Zealand, last year's winner, one of 2 former winners in the race. Mark Hanover, though, hasn't won a race since. Number 2, the Victorian Impressionist, the second favourite, Ted Demler, looking for his first victory in the Interdominion. Impressionist won 2 heats on his way to the final. He's a 4-year-old stallion and they have the best record in this race. Number 3 from New Zealand, Master Musician. His chances have been talked down during the week by trainer Robbie Dunn. Number 4 from New South Wales, Thorate, the 1990 winner of this race. History against him here in Melbourne, where no New South Wales horses won. Number 5 from Victoria, Franco Tiger, driven by Brian Gath, who won the first Moonee Valley Interdominion on Markovina in 1978. And he'll be fighting it out for the early lead with Vic Frost from New South Wales on number 6, Westburn Grant. He's the 3rd favourite at 4-1. Number 7 from Victoria, Lord Muckley, the quiet achiever of the heats, never out of a place with a first on the first night. And number 8 from New Zealand, making up the front row, Blossom Lady. As the only mare in the race, I guess she's the sentimental favourite. She won 2 heats very impressively. On the second row, number 9 from New Zealand, Christopher Vance at 11-4 will start favourite, the form horse coming into the series, last on the first night but 2 wins to get into the final. Number 10 from New Zealand, Defoe. Trainer Dunn very confident of his chances. Peter Ryder, he's the reinsman in his first Interdominion. And number 11 from Victoria, Level Advice, did nothing wrong in the heats, winning twice, but has been all but written off since the barrier draw. Well, as you'd expect, the air pregnant with anticipation here at the Interdominion at Moonee Valley, nowhere more so than in the betting ring. Let's get an idea where the money's going. Down there, Ian Cleland and John Bell. Good evening, John.
Peter, it's a perfect night here in Melbourne and a great atmosphere below the grandstand, the members stand here at Moonee Valley. Well, all week the talk's been Christopher Vance and Impressionist. Clearlo, have the locals rallied to Impressionist?
It's been a tremendous betting duel between these 2 favourites. The Victorians are pretty loyal and they're sticking to Teddy Demler's horse Impressionist, but the backing for Christopher Vance has been enormous. They were almost equal favourites, but Christopher Vance, I feel, will start favourite. Westburn Grant has been very well supported. He's about the same with the bookies as he is with the tote, but strange as it may seem, Impressionist is better on the tote than he is with the bookmakers, but one of the big bets of the night has been for Blossom Lady. He's far better odds on the tote than he is with the books, and another one is Master Musician. He is double the figure odds with the tote than he is with the bookmakers. It looks as though it was going to be Master Musician outside of the 3 favourites, which of course Impressionist and Christopher Vance, and you're throwing it at Blossom Lady and Westburn Grant. But Master Musician has been well backed, and so has Blossom Lady. The 2 equal favourites look like being Impressionist and Christopher Vance, and I think Christopher Vance will start favourite.
Well, it's a very open field. What's it going to be for Ian Cleland? 1, 2 and 3.
1, 2 and 3. I've got to go for Christopher Vance. He's a champion. I'd like to see the Victorian horse winner. I think the New Zealand is a better horse. He'll beat Impressionist, and I'm going to throw in a roughie, Thorate for third.
Peter, we're building up to what will be a great race.
Well, it looks like Victoria versus New Zealand, and leading the Victorians, Ted Demler's horse Impressionist, stabled down there at Carrum Down, south of Melbourne. While Christopher Vance has led the New Zealanders, he's been stabled north of the city at Andrew Peace's property at Whittlesea. In the tranquility of the Victorian countryside, the noise and excitement generated by harness racing's Melbourne Cup, the Interdominion, seems a long way away. But after a less than dazzling opening to the series, New Zealand gelding Christopher Vance seems to have had few problems making the transition.
Down the outside is Mark Hanover, coming through in the centre is Christopher Vance.
Ever since bad luck and stablemate Mark Hanover beat him into second place in Auckland last year, Barry Purden's 5-year-old has been the horse to beat for the championship in Melbourne.
Mark Hanover's won the golden.
Christopher Vance was relatively inexperienced compared to Mark Hanover, and he's a bit older now and a bit stronger, and even though they are the same age, of course, he's had a bit more practice now, so consequently he's caught up and probably gone a bit ahead of Mark Hanover. And it was a great run in the Interdominion final for Christopher Vance last year. He dragged a flat tyre for the last 2,200 metres of the race, which, you know, it's a great performance, and it could have easily been the other way around if things had been right for him.
Australian fans saw Christopher Vance's class when he came from last to win the Miracle Mile. For Purden, the horse's attributes make him a trainer's dream.
He doesn't worry about a thing. He relaxes in the running. He can go out of the gate and relax, or he can drop off the gate. He's just a nice all-round horse to do anything with. He hasn't really got any faults.
Faultless or not, it appeared there was one horse which might get in the way of Christopher Vance rounding off a wonderful 12 months. Former Kiwi Impressionist. 2 firsts and a third had Victorian hopes high for a hometown title, until the 4-year-old pulled up sore last Saturday night. Initially, the condition of his off foreleg deteriorated, but on Wednesday, a sparkling workout against fellow inter-rivals, Defoe and Master Musician, brought the smile back to the face of former world champion reinsman Ted Demler.
Well, I don't know about being confident or overconfident. If you're not in it, you can't win it. And it would have been a big disappointment if we weren't able to make it after doing what he's done in the heats. He's done a phenomenal job, and as I said, if we're not in it, you can't win it. But he has got 10 or 11 other horses probably as good as him to be able to beat. So, you know, whoever gets the luck in the run is the one who will win the race.
And joining me now, a man who knows all about the ups and downs of this race. He won on 1987 on My Lightning Blue in Christchurch last year in Auckland, got tipped out of the sulky very early on its motor power. Jim O'Sullivan, good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Well, you've been out in a special race for past winners, or at least a parade anyway, with My Lightning Blue. He was a bit jumpy out there, even though he knows all about the big occasion. Drivers also, do they feel a little bit nervous on a night like this?
Oh, especially this sort of race. It's the ultimate with the trotting drivers. The horses don't worry all that much because they've been there and done that, and most of the drivers have too, but with the great crowd they've got here tonight, of course, it makes them all a bit jittery.
Who wins it, the horse or the driver?
Well, I think once they get out there and do their preliminaries, they get it in hand pretty good.
So the best horse will win tonight. Who do you think that'll be?
Well, they all say the draw's the main thing, but in this type of race, sometimes the good draws are not quite as good as they appear because the horses are in a hectic battle for the early lead, and sometimes the horses are drawn at the back line having a nice easy run or run over the top, and that's what happened with me with My Lightning Blue. I drew 16, which was supposed to be the worst number, and while everyone was out hunting and sealing for the lead, I was running at the tail of the field, and he had the last guard.
So don't write off level advice, perhaps?
No, I wouldn't. He was great in the early heats, and a little disappointment the other night, but I think that he'll go very well.
OK, we'll come back and get your ultimate selection for the race, but the horses are out on the track. Let's take a look at some of those earlier heats, and it's time to introduce our race caller for tonight, Greg Miles. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, Peter, and good evening, everyone. Out warming up they are now, and the big final just 6 minutes away now. Time to have a look at the way some of these made it through to the final. We've heard from Ted Demler. He certainly had his worries this week. The horse finding the very hard track here at Moonee Valley. Somewhat of a worry for him, but he has recovered. His sore splint bone has recovered well, and the horse looks a picture of fitness out there on the track at the moment, as you can see. Pressure really on Teddy. He's yet to win an Interdominion. He did drive Pure Steel, of course, back in 1980. He was beaten by Koala King after going through the heats undefeated. This certainly is his best chance since. He has been the star of the series, 2 magnificent wins and a great third as well. Here's how he scored last Saturday. Defoe runs second, Lord Muckley third.
Level Advice, led by a little over a metre Impressionist. In third placing, Lord Muckley, followed further back by Defoe and then Meadow Mirage. They're on the home turn. Level Advice a little more than a metre in front of Impressionist. Just behind them is Defoe, followed by Meadow Mirage and then Lord Muckley. Round the turn, Level Advice the leader. Can he stick? That's the question. Impressionist comes at him strongly. Impressionist raced up to Level Advice, who found nothing. Then came Defoe, but it's Impressionist clear. Down the outside, Defoe finishing quickly, but Impressionist hangs on, and Impressionist won it from Defoe. Third Defoe to either Lord Muckley or Meadow Mirage.
Yes, Defoe was starting to close on him a little on the line, but he did have his problems, as we know. On screen there, Christopher Vance, the great New Zealand champion. He, of course, was second in this race last year. He had to tow a flat tyre for the majority of the race, though, so he might have been something beaten. Since then, he has taken all before him. He's won the Miracle Mile, the New Zealand and the Auckland Cup. In fact, he's won 11 of his 15 starts for the season. But Connections did have real worries. The first night here, he ran last. It was a rank failure. The pressure was really on. On the second night, he really had to win. It was an absolute must.
Imprimata's had enough and running on just behind these. Almeida Boy travelling well. So too its Motor Power can't get a crack at them. Christopher Vance has got lost in the sprinting and he's back with only 3 or 4 behind him on the turn. And now Zakara worked to the lead from Tip Top Prince. Wide out Meadow Mirage, and they were followed by its Motor Power. No Christopher Vance, he's got nowhere to go in the straight now. And Zakara the leader. Meadow Mirage out after it, and Almeida Boy. Lord Muckley out wide, and now Christopher Vance seeing daylight when it's all over. Look at him sprint home in the middle, and Christopher Vance a big effort to win. Beats either Lord Muckley or Zakara in a photo.
He has got a great sprint. We're going to see that here tonight. Christopher Vance, the top hope for the New Zealanders. But there's another great champion from New Zealand in Blossom Lady. Great mare, won the consolation of this race last year. She holds 5 track records in New Zealand. Ran 6th in the first round of heats to Level Advice, but since then she really has blossomed. Won on the Wednesday night in the fastest heat time, and then she won again last Saturday in the slowest time. She's coming right at the right time, Blossom Lady.
Master Musician poised for its run. Witch Melody out wide, then Imprimata, and the rest headed by Mark Hanover, with Thorate making a run round the outside. Blossom Lady strode a metre clear round the home turn from On Parade. Master Musician right there to pounce, and then Witch Melody. But Blossom Lady with a head full of steam, led by 4 metres. Master Musician, old Thorate out wide. It's Blossom Lady holding Master Musician. Thorate's finishing well, but the New Zealander, Blossom Lady, will win it by 5 metres. Thorate got second a nose, Master Musician. Then came Mark Hanover.
Thorate just getting there. He had to run second to make it through to the final. Got there in a photo. On screen there, one of the local hopes, Lord Muckley. About a 20-to-1 chance. Really, I suppose, the surprise packet of the series. But he has gone first, second and third in the heats. He's been a model of consistency. Here's his win on opening night. Perhaps it is significant, though, that the runners-up Zululu and Zakara both failed to make the final.
Led by 2.5 metres from Christopher Vance, still on the inside. Lord Muckley running on, homeward bound, and Zakara a clear leader from Lord Muckley. Christopher Vance is finding nothing. Zululu finishing well on the outside. Zakara the leader from Lord Muckley. Lord Muckley coming at Zakara. Zakara a half head in front. Lord Muckley driving and got there. Lord Muckley's got up to win it from either Zakara or Zululu.
Lord Muckley in a real drive to the line getting there. They're milling behind the starting point. Start imminent, Pete. Won't be long before the big final's underway.
OK, Jim, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, well, I think Christopher Vance, Impressionist because he's drawn nice, and Blossom Lady because she's staying out in one place. But that's how I think it'll be. You'll never know. It's a great race. If anyone won it, you wouldn't be surprised.
This battle at the start between Westburn Grant and Franco Tiger, it's been talked up through the week as a head-to-head. Are they going to burn one another out?
I don't think so. They're both great drivers in their own right, and I think they know what they're doing. Maybe it's a little bit of paper talk against one another, but I don't think Brian has got a chance if he holds Westburn Grant out for too long. You know,
Okay.
Franco Tiger.
They're just about ready for a start in the 1992 Quit Interdominion final. Here's Greg Miles.
Thanks again, Peter. Big crowd on hand here for the running of this race. First time it's been in Melbourne, of course, for 7 years. The race goes around the country and, of course, to New Zealand. Last run here in 1985 when Pro Chevalier won in front of some 40,000 fans. Perhaps not as many here tonight, but still we've got a wonderful field. A race full of champions, but there can only be one champion on the night. They're starting to move in behind the mobile. 2,840 metres. Moonee Valley a circumference of 900. So they'll start in the straight to the judge and then 3 circuits of the course. Now, the ones to watch, of course, as we've been mentioning, Franco Tiger will come out of 5 and Westburn Grant will come out of 6. They're likely to go very hard early. Impressionist is drawn in gate 2. We've got a couple of stablemates here. Mark Hanover drawn 1 and Christopher Vance. Christopher Vance's driver has the black armbands and a blue cap. Mark Hanover very similar with a white cap. And Defoe and Master Musician are very close. Defoe has a white cap, Master Musician a red cap. Will help you keep your eye on your favourite as they're sweeping around towards the turn. Right in the middle of the screen, Franco Tiger, Westburn Grant and the white with the black stars alongside him. They'll go out hard. Thorate coming up in the orange colours, won it 2 years ago. Dispatch Point coming up. $400,000 Interdominion final about to get underway. The green light's on. They're away and racing now. Franco Tiger began like a bullet. Westburn Grant went with him. Franco Tiger found the lead from Westburn Grant in the first 200 metres. 4-8 settling down third, and then Level Advice. How the goodness did he get up there? He's up running, 1 out, 1 back. In behind them, Mark Hanover, followed by Master Musician as they head to the back the first time. Impressionist next, trailed by Defoe, and then came Christopher Vance on the inside of Blossom Lady, and Lord Muckley is last of all in the first circuit. And as we all expected, Westburn Grant worked to the lead over Franco Tiger. Gaff let him go, and it's Westburn Grant in front, the triple Grand Circuit champion, led by about 3 metres. Franco Tiger second, and Level Advice faces a breeze third on the outside of Thorate. Then Master Musician, who's 1 out and 1 back. On the rail just behind it, Mark Hanover. Impressionist moving up, he's in the running line, he's 2 back and he's well placed. Next in the field then came on the inside Christopher Vance, who's awkwardly placed. Defoe has him pocketed. Last of all, second last is Blossom Lady, and Lord Muckley is last of all. In the straight after the first circuit now, and Westburn Grant the leader. He'll take a lot of catching down there. He's slowing them down in the early stages of this. Vic Frost having a look across his shoulder. Here's the moves coming now, and it's Ted Demler on Impressionist, who's moving up. He'll make the leader work here. Westburn Grant 2 laps out in front, but now Impressionist gets to second. They were followed then by Franco Tiger on the rail, and Defoe's making a move too. Demler will ease, and he'll be in the 1-1 set when they go to the back inside the 1600 metre mark. So Westburn Grant led, Defoe second now, Franco Tiger third, then Impressionist and the New Zealand mare Blossom Ladies making ground on the outside. Thorate next to the rail. They were being followed by Level Advice, and then Mark Hanover, last year's winner, buried away on the inside. Master Musician is third last, Christopher Vance is second last, and Lord Muckley off the back now. 1,300 metres left to go, and Westburn Grant is still the leader. He led out by about a metre. Running second over on the outside as they sweep up to the turn is Blossom Lady. She kept that forward move going, and she sits in the death now. Franco Tiger's had an easy run third, and Defoe 1 out, 1 back. Thorate the rail when they get the bell. Then came Impressionist, and in on the rail behind those horses, Mark Hanover from Level Advice, and then Master Musician. Christopher Vance is second last, and Lord Muckley is last. As the bell ringing in their ears, there's 1 lap to go in the Interdominion, 900 metres from home, and Westburn Grant 2 metres. Blossom Lady, Franco Tiger's had an easy run. Defoe 1 out, 1 back, and then Thorate. Impressionist is next, a run coming from the rear. Taking off as Master Musician around the outside of Impressionist, momentarily pocketed. Then Mark Hanover. Christopher Vance is out now as they go to the back the last time, and then Lord Muckley and Level Advice. It's Westburn Grant down the back, still the one to beat. He led out by about a metre from Blossom Lady. Franco Tiger round the outside, Master Musician followed by Defoe. Impressionist has got lost, he's back about third last, and here comes Christopher Vance wide out, but it's Westburn Grant the leader off the back by 2 metres. Blossom Lady, Master Musician third, then Franco Tiger. They were followed further back in the field by Defoe, and Christopher Vance will need his big sprint. Westburn Grant leads into the straight now from Blossom Lady and Master Musician, then Defoe. It's Westburn Grant for home
home the leader from Blossom Lady. Franco Tiger can't get out. Then Defoe, but it's Westburn Grant clear. He's holding them safely at bay. He'll lead nearly all the way. Franco Tiger out late, but Westburn Grant has won it. Franco Tiger is second. I think Blossom Lady third, just in front of Defoe. Christopher Vance wide out, then Level Advice. They were followed by Impressionist, not the same horse we saw in the heats. Thorate next, followed by Master Musician. Mark Hanover is back towards the rear of the field, and Lord Muckley is last in the Interdominion Grand Final. Victory to New South Wales and Westburn Grant. Westburn Grant has won the Interdominion, second placing to 5 Franco Tiger, and third place is a photo to decide it. Vic Frost steering Westburn Grant to victory here. The Triple Grand Circuit champion has scored a terrific win, with Vic Frost dominating the race virtually from start to finish. I think some of the other drivers' worst fears recognised when he found the lead and went through a couple of quarters in slow time in the last mile. The first quarter 29.2, second quarter 31.1, and then 30.1. So he ran a very slow middle half, and that's been the key to the race. He's been able to hold them safely at bay and win. But a very deserved victory it is. Second placing official has gone to Franco Tiger, and third, Blossom Lady, as Lord Muckley's driver Graham Morgan congratulates Vic Frost. Let's have a look at the concluding stages again of the interfinal. Christopher Vance will need his big sprint. Westburn Grant leads into the straight now from Blossom Lady and Master Musician, then Defoe. It's Westburn Grant for home, the leader from Blossom Lady. Franco Tiger can't get out, then Defoe, but it's Westburn Grant clear. He's holding them safely at bay. He'll lead nearly all the way. Franco Tiger out late, but Westburn Grant has won it. Franco Tiger is second. I think Blossom Lady third, just in front of Defoe. Christopher Vance wide out. Yes, a wonderful win by a great horse. Westburn Grant, as I mentioned earlier, 3 times a Grand Circuit champion. I think Gamelite's the only other horse ever to have achieved that. He ran 5th in the interfinal back in 1990, but he's had some problems since then. This horse, in fact, races with a steel pin in one of his hind legs. He broke down in January of 1991 in the Benson and Hedges Cup, only came back in October of 1991. So it's some achievement that we even see this great horse on the track before. Vic Frost's undoubted experience in Interdominion finals holding him in great stead. He's, I think, the most experienced driver in the field. He'd driven in 5 finals before. He'd yet to have a win, but he'll certainly be savouring this moment tonight as he doffs the cap to the big crowd at Moonee Valley. A winner of 2 Miracle Miles, a host of other great races. He has been a wonderful champion right through the years, and this is a very much deserved win by Westburn Grant, who would have started third favourite in the race. Impressionist, he seemed to skip turning out of the straight, you might have noticed. Whether he's feeling that injury or the soreness in his leg, I don't know. But this horse, Westburn Grant, he was devoid of publicity during the week because he was taken to the beach out in Gippsland, and Vic Frost buried himself away there, away from the media hubbub. But he's got the money tonight, and he'll be a delighted man. John Bella's down there to meet Vic Frost and Westburn Grant.
Vic, tremendous performance.
Yeah, fantastic.
The race went virtually according to plan.
Yeah, well, you know, he's been drawing sort of bad in the heats, and we were hoping we'd sort of get that sort of luck in the final, like, you know, and it's come through. Like, you know, we got that bit of luck.
Greg Miles was saying it was a fairly slow middle half of the race. Was that the way you expected it to go?
Yeah, well, I suppose, you know, when those horses moved up, like, they'd sort of done a little bit of work, and I knew the other horse sort of couldn't make me sort of work any harder, so I took a bit of a breather in the centre, yeah.
Yeah, and that early move that Brian Gatt was talking about with Franco Tiger never happened.
I had to work pretty hard to get the lead off him. I had to accelerate up pretty damn hard.
And what about the importance of this training down in the Gippsland on the beaches, that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, I can't get him right anywhere else, only on the beach.
The highlight of your career?
Oh, most definitely, yep.
Well, Vic, it's a marvellous performance. Congratulations, and very well done. The Interdominion 1992.
Thanks very much. Thank you. It was bloody great to be here, mate. I'm telling you. I've been a damn lot of years trying to get an Interdominion, but I got one.
Vic Frost to Westburn Grant.
Yes, one of the characters, one of the greats of harness racing, and I'm sure there'll be a big party coming up tonight, a well-deserved win, as he accepts the congratulations of the gathering throng. The official margins, a metre by 3, a short half head to the 4th horse. The mile rate 1:59.4, so the overall time is only 2/10 of outside the track record here. He's run quick overall time, last mile 1:59.4, and the last half 59.1. But a race that was completely dominated by Westburn Grant and Vic Frost. The official placings then, Westburn Grant the winner, and he paid $5.20 and $2.40 on the Victorian tote, $2.80 for Franco Tiger, and $2.40 for Blossom Lady. The Quinella paid $22.60 in the trifecta, $390.90. Those Victorian totes as a guide for you. 6, 5 and 8, it is official. Westburn Grant, Franco Tiger, Blossom Lady fill the placings in the interfinal. Defoe ran 4th, Christopher Vance ran 5th, not the same impressionist, Peter G.
Well, New South Wales has done it at last at an Interdominion in Victoria, winning, and a few more deserving drivers than Vic Frost. He's trained him down there in Gippsland. New South Wales, he likes the seclusion on the beaches, and emotional scenes there with his wife Margaret. They unfortunately lost their son at Christmas time, so I'm sure this victory dedicated to him. First ride for Vic Frost in 1964, and he's done it in 1992. A long time to wait, but one to save it. Jim, you know what it feels like.
Oh yes, definitely. No one deserves it more than Vic. He's been a great ambassador for the sport. He's won every major race, I think, that there is on the calendar, trotting calendar, and to win this would be ultimate for him. Yeah, tremendous. Couldn't be more deserving.
Okay, well, it's time for the connections to take the plaudits and for Vic Frost to lift that cup up. Let's go down for the presentations in the 1992 Quit Interdominion. Your Master of Ceremonies, Rob Gaylard.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to presentation time here for the 1992 Quit Interdominion Pacing Championship. And tears of joy from the Frost camp to the viewers throughout the eyes of television throughout the nation. We welcome you as well. To begin the presentations tonight, can I introduce to you the chairman of the Harness Racing Board here in Victoria, Mr. Tim Walsh.
Thank you, Rob. Premier Joan Kerner, Minister for Sport Neil Trezise, Dr. Moonee, Chairman of the Interdominion Harness Racing Council, members of the Grand Council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. What a marvellous event. Made history this evening with the win of Westburn Grant in this 51st Interdominion. And who could begrudge that mighty little champion a victory in the pinnacle of harness racing in this country? I wish to pay tribute to all who have competed in this series, who've worked so hard for so long to bring it to fruition. In particular, I wish to thank the Quit organisation, supported by the Health Promotion Foundation, who have given the harness racing industry such great support by their support of this Interdominion. We are proud and pleased to be associated with an organisation such as the Health Promotion Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce the Premier of Victoria, it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Ron Casey, Chairman of the Sports Committee and a member of the board of the Health Promotion Foundation, to say a few words. Ron Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Dr. Moonee, Mr. Phillips. I represent the Victorian Health Promotion Foundation here, the funding organisation which made it possible for the very important messages of Quit and Diabetes Australia to be transmitted to the people of Victoria. I represent the board and my colleagues here tonight, Graham Wiedemann, Eddie Micallef and Ron Best. Absolutely overjoyed with the way the harness industry has supported this sponsorship, and the roar came from the crowd as Westburn Grant headed that field down the straight was great satisfaction to us to know that we had in fact sponsored a magnificent sporting event, and a sporting event which carries those vital messages of health to the people of Victoria and through television to the people of Australia. Congratulations to the connections of Westburn Grant, and those congratulations will be amplified in a moment by the Premier of Victoria.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there, running a little over time, but I think we've already seen the moment that will live in Vic Frost's memory forever. He's finally claimed the Interdominion Championship on Westburn Grant from Franco Tiger. It was 1-2 very early on, and that's the way it finished off. Blossom Lady, the mare, coming home in third place for New Zealand. We hope you've enjoyed this Interdominion for 1992 from Moonee Valley, and we'll leave you with the concluding stages. Good night.
By Defoe, Impressionist has got lost. He's back about third last, and here comes Christopher Vance wide out, but it's Westburn Grant, the leader, off the back by 2 metres. Blossom Lady, Master Musician third, then Franco Tiger. They were followed further back